So this Sunday we're talking about the call to contemplation. I don't know about you, but being quiet is not my best skill. My mother used to say whenever we had a car trip, "Melinda, let's play the quiet game." And I would go, "I lose." Why even try? Why even try? And yet, believe it or not, I'm actually an introvert. I need a lot of time alone in order to come out here and do what I do here and with you, in order to be that loud, obnoxious person. There's so much noise in our lives these days. It used to be that at least when you were in the doctor's office or in traffic or waiting in line at the store to check out, you would have a moment where you could possibly reflect. But now we've got these little computers in our hands. And not only that, even if we're not scrolling on the computer, everybody in our lives thinks we should be available to them 24/7. If they send us a text or they call or they send us an email, we're supposed to answer. We're not allowed to just be off the grid for a moment. It almost feels like that in modern life, doesn't it? So there's all this noise that the song talks about. So this constant, I'd like to call it the soundtrack of our lives. And think about what the soundtrack of your life is made up. It's made up of people's opinions around you. It's made up of your family and what they have to say. It's made up with whoever's got the TV on or whoever's playing music. Or if you choose not to play the music in your car, then the car that drives up next to you will be playing his so loud that the thumping bass makes you shake. You go to the grocery store. I never have understood why in restaurants they play the music so loud that you have to actually yell at each other to enjoy a dinner and conversation with one another. But that's what our world is right now. And it's, I think, more important than ever that we obey that call to contemplation, that we have some quiet time to hear our own thoughts. If you don't know what your thoughts are, you don't know what you're thinking. And if you're looking for guidance, you have to get quiet enough to hear it. If you want to feel your intuition, you have to be paying a little bit of attention. So first, let's talk about what the definition of contemplation is. In Webster, it's deep reflective thought or looking at something thoughtfully for a long time. Okay, if we're going to look at something thoughtfully for a long time, what would that be? And my answer would be this. Your own self, your own heart. How much time do you spend just looking into your own heart? Into your own desires, into your own wisdom, into your own intuition, into knowing, what do I think about that? I know what everybody else thinks about that. I know who I want to knee-jerk agree with, but what do I think about it? What do I think? And why are we looking at self? Well, I got a few quotes for you. This is ancient wisdom. Pythagoras says, "Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God." If we're all one, then knowing here is knowing everything, is knowing all of it. If I know myself deeply enough, then I know you, because we are one. We are one. It's weird on Sunday, people go, "How'd you know that's a sermon I needed to hear?" It's like, it's because it's the one I needed to hear. That's why I came up with it, because I needed to hear it. And it turns out we're all one. We all have the same needs. We all do. Aristotle says, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And in the Tao, which is attributed to Lao Tzu, it says, he who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. Simple. Wherever you go, there you are. You're not going to get away from yourself. You would think, I spend all my time with me. I should know me very well by now, but do we? That's the question. How much time do we spend distracting ourselves from who we are and what we are and how we feel at any given moment and what we think and what our intuition is telling us? How many of you have completely ignored your gut feeling, much to your detriment, more than 20 times? It's like, in retrospect, I go, I knew that. I knew not to take that road, but I did it anyway. Because I wasn't listening to myself. Because I hadn't developed a habit of listening to myself. I hadn't learned to trust that myself would tell me what I needed to hear, that one clear voice that Peter Cetera sings about. So, it's simple. Know thyself. There you are. But it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy because for several reasons. One, time, where our time is taken up with all kinds of distractions. Our senses are constantly on alert. We've got so much sensory information, not just the noise, but what's coming in through our eyes, what we're smelling, what we're tasting, and all of the thoughts, what we're planning, what we're thinking about, what we're responding to, what we're reacting to, all of that kind of stuff. Benjamin Franklin said, there are 3 things extremely hard: steel, a diamond, and knowing yourself. Wow, is it that hard? It can be. We are flooded with our own distractions. We're flooded with our own desire to run away. You ever have a thought and go, no, not that one. Run away, run away, run away. Have a feeling, nope, not going there. Do something else. Give me a donut, quick. Nip that one in the bud. So our desire to run, entertainment, misdirection, and those senses, those voices, those distractions can be really, really loud. And other people, other people, they're just, wherever you go, there they are, right? Life would be so easy if it wasn't for all the other humans, yeah? Like, if they would just do what they're supposed to do, then we would be fine. We would be fine. Carl Jung said that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Ooh, so there's a way to get to know yourself even when you're surrounded by others. By watching your own reactivity. By watching what comes up in you as life plays out in front of you. And I don't know about you, but some of the things that come up in me that I don't really like very much are anger, terror, contempt, disdain. Anybody feel any of those things this week? Maybe while watching the news? Fear. And also compassion and tenderness and love and exhaustion. All of those things. We're all of that. And we're so afraid to look at the things in our shadow. We're so afraid to look at the things that don't seem pretty that we tend to build a wall that keeps us from seeing ourselves clearly at all. And so making friends with all of the parts of ourselves is one of the most important things we can do. And we can do that with time in meditation or contemplation. To just as we watch those feelings arise that we don't like, that we don't want to identify, that we wish we weren't feeling, or that we're afraid to feel, we can just go, okay, I don't really like that you're here, but I'm going to try to make friends with you. Because it seems like you hang around me an awful lot. So we might as well find a way to get along. Or I might find a way to accept you. I get angry. Now, if I get mad at myself and feel guilty every time I get angry, then I'm compounding that. That's what the Buddha called real suffering. That the first arrow is suffering. Yeah, it's pain. But when you repeatedly jab yourself with it, then that's the suffering that you're creating. So yes, other people do cause suffering in us, but then we continue to pick at the wounds and make ourselves suffer. So Byron Katie says basically what Carl Jung says, but in a very, very elegant way. And you can, I love this practice. When you find yourself getting really, really annoyed with someone else, he is so whatever, fill in the blank. Follow it with just like me. And then look inside yourself and see where that is in you. Because what we want to do is go, yeah, but I'm not as bad as him. Okay, but do I have anger? Am I selfish? Am I greedy at times? Do I tend to think that what I need and what I want is more important than what other people need and want. I mean, of course, I don't admit that, but we're all selfish, right? We're all self-centered to a certain degree. That's part of the nature of being human. Once we take on these human forms, then we have all kinds of needs, and we can get consumed by those needs. And the world can seem really, really scary when we think that someone might thwart our getting our needs fulfilled. That's natural. But we can also get stuck in those places. So it's not about feeling guilty. It's about going, look, I don't really have room to point at them. I have 3 fingers pointing back at me for every finger I point out at someone else, right? Just like me. And here's the deal. Can I do anything about him? I cannot do anything to change him, ever. Can I do anything about me? Yes, I can. It might take a little work. It might take a little time. It might be as hard as steel or a diamond. But I can. I have that choice. Love is my decision. We were talking about the song before the service. Whose decision? Mine. And yours, and yours, and yours, and yours. Your love is your decision. My love is my decision. At some point, we're going to realize it's all the same love, and then it will be easier, but we're not quite there yet. We have a need for some absolute quiet, really. In order to get in touch with any of that, you can't do it and have your earbuds in, or do it and watch TV, or do it and, what I like to do is I'm going to do my spiritual practice while I'm out walking. Well, yeah, I'm walking, and sometimes I'm, doing a walking meditation, and sometimes I'm just thinking real hard about all kinds of junk that my mind is somewhere 1,000,000 miles away. Sometimes we need to just get still enough to hear, still enough to befriend ourselves. Yeah, not to criticize ourselves. That's not the point here. It's not looking at all the ugly stuff so we'll know how bad we are. It's looking at everything so we'll know how wonderfully human and divine we all are. Both. We're not one or the other. We are the divine having a fully human experience. Having a fully human experience. And that includes all that stuff that we would rather not look at. And so when we sit with the intention of making friends with ourselves, it gets to be less scary. It gets to be less scary. Jesus made a point of going apart for a while. Please don't think for a moment that he didn't get annoyed with those disciples. He would explain things over and over and over and over again, and they would never get it. You mean this? Oh, that's what I mean. I'm going to go apart for a while, right? That's how he energized himself to continually remember the truth of who he was, that God was within him and he was in God. That's how he knew that. When we don't take the time to do that, then we don't know. We think we're just these reactive beings that have to respond to everything that happens out there, rather than a self-directed being that can take action from what's going on in here and in here. To go apart for a while. The Buddha talked about training our minds not to jump every time something happens, to get used to staying in stillness even in the face of movement outside of ourselves, even if it's movement we don't like, especially if it's movement we don't like. In contemplation is creativity, is wisdom, right? And it's not so much about thinking, because we think all the time. Thoughts happen to us. But it's about holding space. It's about holding an openness of mind that says, I'm just exploring here. If I think this is what I think, then I already knew that I was thinking what I was thinking. But if I say, I'm going to just explore the edges of me, what information is there? And then sit quietly and wait and see. Then that is allowing something to come to us and through us. And I know that artists know this. True artists know it. You don't paint or create or write or make great music from a place of scurry and flurry. You make it from a place of, okay, I gotta sit down and allow inspiration to rise within me or come down from the heavens through me, or however you think of your inspiration being. Yes, there's a lot of perspiration involved, but if you're going to be inspired, that means take in a breath. And then you exhale. The exhale is the action. The inhale is the inspiration. And so the going apart for a while is your opportunity to do the big inhale. And then your interacting with the world is when you do the big exhale. Think about that. If you're going to exhale worth anything at all, you got to inhale first. Otherwise, you're just going to be going at the world. Sorry, it wasn't as funny as I thought it would be. So there is thinking and there is knowing, right? Do you know that place in yourself where you're like, I think what I need is this. And there's also a place in you that says, I know it's time. I know what to do. I know when to do it. I know it's now. Have you recognized that within yourself? That absolute knowing what to do. And have you recognized within yourself, well, I think that's what I should do. When really you're saying, I know what I should do, but that's not really what I want to do, so I'm going to think of reasons why this other thing might be a better thing. That's called not paying attention to our intuition. Knowing is something that doesn't necessarily come from thinking, but that comes from holding space, from allowing. That's my word for the year, allowing. It's all going on. God is active in every moment, moving through you. Take a moment to go, I'm going to let that happen. Rather than guiding it, twisting it, trying to make it my own, trying to make it be something or another thing. What if I allow it and see what happens? See what comes to me, see how it feels. It's all about allowing, knowing versus convincing or persuading. Have you ever tried to convince or persuade yourself or others? We're usually more successful at convincing and persuading ourselves than we are convincing and persuading others. It's the difference. The difference between thinking and knowing is the same as the difference between knowing and convincing. It's the same as the difference between true confidence and bravado. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to make a big loud noise, so if I do something wrong, everybody will be too scared to tell me. Or they might even believe I'm doing it right if I do it loud enough. We see that in the world. We see it all the time. But true confidence doesn't need to make a big splash. It doesn't need to make a big noise. True confidence comes from that knowing. And the only way you're ever going to know is if you get quiet enough to allow yourself to know. When you get quiet enough, here's one of the things that can happen. Epiphany. An epiphany, according to Webster, is an illuminating discovery, realization, or disclosure. You suddenly realize something. It wasn't necessarily thinking that got you there. You didn't go through a logical process and go, and this, and this, and this, and therefore, like a geometric proof. No, it's, oh, I can't believe I didn't see that. It was here all along. Well, it probably was here all along. And maybe it just occurred to you because you got quiet enough to be able to notice it, to be able to hear it. Epiphany is very important on the spiritual path. It provides us with inspiration. And then you know what happens after you have an epiphany? Nothing until you change something in your life, until you act on that epiphany. Epiphanies feel great. Now I understand. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. Now I understand. Whoa, how does that completely shake up how I approach my world, how I think of myself and other people, how I show up to the next thing I do, in the next relationship, in the next conversation, in the next action. then I allow myself to be informed by those epiphanies. Now, am I saying you need to become a nun or a monk so you can spend all of your time in contemplation so you can know? I really think it's interesting. I shared this a couple of weeks ago that Thich Nhat Hanh, beautiful Buddhist master and teacher, says he believes that the next Buddha is the Sangha. The next way shower is actually the community, right? So we're not waiting for someone else. The Course in Miracles says this: we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And so we don't have to spend all our time, we don't have to become a nun or a monk. That was an old way of contemplation, and certain forms of Buddhism, Theravadan Buddhism, that the only way to get enlightenment was to become a monk and to completely get out of life. But there's a new monasticism, which is to take that contemplative life that is part of you and bring it out into the world so that you make changes, so that you're not having an epiphany and enlightenment and inspiration in a dark room by yourself, but you're bringing it out into the world so that actual changes are being made in the outer world. I'm not saying that changes don't happen from the people who hold us in contemplation in prayer. Yes, things do change, but I think there's a faster evolution of consciousness when we are consciously doing things differently. And so we make time. We hold space. We sometimes resist distraction. I know what I'd rather do right now is turn on the TV or open this book. But maybe just this once I can sit here and allow. Just allow. Forms of contemplation are meditation. That's one form of contemplation. Yoga can be a form of contemplation. Mindful walking. Writing in your journal. Time in nature. Have you ever noticed that when you go sit out under a tree and really breathe, that the tree tells you things that you didn't know before? I have noticed that. Maybe your thing isn't a tree. Maybe it's something else. But nature has so much wisdom for us. But we can't go, wow, that's pretty. Let's take a picture of it. Okay, we saw it. Let's go. We actually have to spend some time in it. The cool green breathing of the leaves, the poet says. Yeah, the cool green breathing of the leaves. Allow it. Or just sit where you are and be aware. Just be aware. There's a lot more going on than you think there is. Just pay attention to what is right now. Right here in the spot where you're sitting. A few feet out from the spot where you're sitting. In this whole world, there's so much going on. There's somebody right now being born. There's somebody right now dying. There's somebody right now who is in complete joy. There's somebody right now who is on the edge of despair. This is all going on all the time, and we're all a part of it. We're all a part of it. And it doesn't hurt us to know it and to breathe it in and to allow it to have its way in us. And as it has its way in us, then we can send out our good wishes into the world. We can send out our prayers that we want for everyone else what we want for ourselves, which is a relief from suffering, a way to happiness, a way to joy. And that's not generally found by partying. And what you will find, you'll have happiness, you'll have glee. Maybe it'll feel like joy. I'm not against partying. Invite me, I'll come. But there's more to life than sense pleasure. There's a joy that is beyond those other joys. There is, and that's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about. So that even when things don't feel like a party, there is still that still center within you that understands that you were made to be a joyful being because you were made in love, of love, by love, to love. That's why you're here. And no one can ever stop you from doing that except you. Spend some time exploring that. And next week, we'll explore the call to compassion. Let's take that into a short meditation. Buddy, would you like to tinkle a little bit while I... Thank you. So this is just a moment for contemplation. You don't have to purposefully think of anything. And you don't have to purposely try not to think of anything. Just open and allow. Allow your mind to rest from all its busyness. Allow your breathing to slow down. Your heartbeat to steady. Maybe allow your muscles to relax a little bit. And simply hold the awareness. There is that within you that knows. There is that within you that knows you completely, thoroughly, and that rejects no part of you, that accepts and loves all of it. Just allow that knowing. You're already there. You're already home. You're already safe in your eternal soul. It might not look that way in the outer world, but it is absolutely true in your inner world in every moment that you allow it. To direct it or control it. You can just let it be as you rest in your interior world. Informed, permeated by, made manifest by the one love, the one power, the one presence. Not separate. But whole. Within to discover you already know how it feels to be whole. And with this attitude of allowing, that's something we can't take our meditation with us out into the world, but we can take the attitude of our meditation out into the world. And if we're trying to control our meditation, maybe we're taking control out into the world, but this allowing, we can take that out into the world and allow it to inform our decisions. And find that love is with us everywhere we go, because it is us. And so it is. Amen.